Good afternoon, Kurt Capra here for your daily recap on this Thursday, July 13th. Hope you guys had a great trading day. And as we take a look here at the S&P, you can see that we had another day of follow through here on the heels of yesterday's gap up and bullish close. But it was a bit of a slower day overall. I mean, we used up a lot of energy and steam on the gap up and grind higher yesterday. So things are a little bit tired today here, especially ahead of some of the earnings in the bank names that we'll have tomorrow before the bell. But we are also up into this prior high here off to the left, right? So that's another reason as to why we've gotten a little bit of a pause. And if you also look here, which we'll do in a moment at the Qs, you'll see that they're up multiple days and retesting some resistance as well. So for several reasons, it made sense that today was a somewhat kind of restricted day in a sense that it wasn't able to follow through any higher. But we've got some different things going on that, as I said, have held that back. But tomorrow it will be interesting to see what happens in the financials. We'll take a look at that in a second. But first, I want to show you here the Qs, and they were also able to push up here. But again, they've got this prior high right off to the left that they're into and having to deal with at this point. Also up 5 days in a row here now, so getting a little bit of a pause again makes sense. One of the things that helped the Qs today was Apple, which, as you can see here, was very strong as it pushed up today, gaining almost 1.5%. And this is coming on a day where Facebook, Netflix, you know, these are some names that, while not necessarily bearish, did not display the same strength that they had yesterday. So again, all these things being considered make sense as to the overall sluggish day that we had here today. But Apple was strong. Facebook, as I said, held its own, but after multiple days up and breaking through yesterday this prior high, it made sense that it was going to pause. And quite frankly, we may see it pulling back a bit more here, or if nothing else, going sideways tomorrow as well, given how much we've run in a relatively short period of time. All right, so speaking of the financials, we did get another little bounce here today, and as I said, I mean, I was of the belief that we would see this moving higher here today, and that is what has happened. We're still within this very bullish range, and things are looking like they're ready to move higher, and that may tie in perfectly with the earnings that we get from names like JP Morgan, which reports tomorrow before the bell. Right, this closed bullish here today after this pullback, so it is in a position here to move higher. We'll see if we get follow through to this pattern or not, though, with the earnings. Wells Fargo also reporting tomorrow before the bell, and this one is also looking higher after a bit of a pullback. And Citigroup, same scenario, not as strong here today, but pulling back into some support. Does look like it is positioned well for a move higher, but again, earnings, binary event. We'll see what happens and take it a step at a time with tomorrow. The other story of today was the intraday move in IBB. You know, if we go to the 15-minute chart, you can see that we opened, you know, pretty much neutral, up a bit. We sold off relatively hard in the morning before then stabilizing and kind of grinding back up. And then here you can see right there around 245, it just exploded higher. The IBBs took off to the upside and got us above the high of the day, closing bullish. And as you can also see, we're out of this range that we had been discussing here over the last several weeks, this descending channel, this triangle pennant formation. So all in all, everything that happened here today was in line with the expectations. You know, when you break above the top of this range, you expect price to continue higher. Maybe not in the volatile way that it happened here today, but that is the animal that is IBB. Things can happen very quickly and turn on a dime. Amgen was one of the main beneficiaries in terms of the technical pattern, right? You can see here it's been going sideways up at these highs. It did poke above it, and so I do think that this could see additional follow through. You've got a gap fill up here around the 180 level, so I think Amgen can definitely push higher. I'll be watching this over the coming days to see if it can do that. And then finally, we'll just mention here TLT. This one was under some pressure here today as it came back down to these prior lows, and so we'll see if the pressure doesn't remain here in TLT with additional weakness, which could drive the market higher. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that, but this is your line in the sand. If we get under this 122.50-ish area, then you've obviously got the prior low as your next level, so somewhere down here around 120.5, give or take. So we'll keep an eye on TLT as well for some clues, but definitely watch this first level here, this prior low. All right, so we'll see what happens here tomorrow with the earnings before the bell and the financials. That probably sets the tone for at least the morning trade for Friday, and then we'll see how the rest of the day plays out. I will be back with you for the morning call tomorrow, as well as the recap. So until then, have a great evening, and I'll talk to you soon.